One thing the Western media loves to report, other than praising their own civilization, their so-called values and democracy, is to target India. From mocking India's Mangalyaan success to questioning India's electorate result or demonizing Hindus and their culture, the subcontinent has always been a target for the Western media. The latest one to target India is Bloomberg. This is the same news media outlet that mentioned India as a former British colony when it overtook the UK to become the fifth largest economy in the world. Looks like it doesn't give enough satisfaction to Bloomberg. The outlet has aimed its guns against India again, this time by using armed forces as a weapon. Bloomberg published a news report saying Modi's Make in India is making the armed forces vulnerable to external threats. Considering the way the West sees India, this news isn't surprising. But did you observe when Bloomberg published this so-called report? When China announced disengagement from Gogra hot springs. Everyone knows it was China that tried to change the status quo and India prevented it from happening. Now, if India is really vulnerable, as Bloomberg claims, why would China agree to disengage with a country that is defenseless and agrees to maintain the status quo? This one example explains the report is another relentless attack of Western media against India. And by the way, what's wrong with promoting indigenous equipment? Shouldn't a country like India have its own defense system? Yes, it should. During the Kargil war, when India was facing a shortage of weapons, even allies refused to supply it because India was sanctioned by the US for conducting nuclear tests. Thanks to Israel, the West Asian nation gave us the ammunition we needed and it played a vital role in our victory then. Maybe the current government doesn't want to go through the same humiliation and embarrassment process again. That might be the reason for pushing for indigenous equipment. Despite promoting indigenous equipment, our forces still rely on foreign vendors. After the Galwan clash, India had worked very hard to procure SIG assault rifles from the US in a short time. Doesn't this show India is importing whether or not it likes it? Not only this, India has signed a deal with the US to procure the P-81 maritime plane and SH-60 Seahawk along with the Apache choppers for the Indian Navy and Army. Isn't this procurement from foreign vendors? India is also discussing buying MQ-9 Reaper drones for all three armed forces from the United States. The Navy is already using a few of them on lease after the Galwan clash. India has deployed M777 light howitzer near LAC in Arunachal Pradesh, and the army is using various Israeli-made guns and drones to safeguard the border on both sides. Aren't these foreign equipment? These are few examples to counter Bloomberg's claim that India has stopped imports from defense equipments. These are few examples to counter Bloomberg's claim that India has stopped imports of defense equipment. Now, does that mean India is not working on indigenous equipment? Yes, India is reducing its dependency on foreign vendors. DRDO recently developed AESA radar for Tejas and AMCA. It will replace existing Israel's radar in the future. India recently launched its first indigenous aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant, and is currently working on 30 various fleets for the Navy. IAF has already ordered light utility helicopters along with LCH and Tejas. The Army is also procuring several weapons like howitzers, missiles, rocket launchers and various equipment from the local vendors. What does this say? India is developing indigenous equipment for the armed forces, but till it comes into work, the government is also procuring from the foreign vendors. These proofs not only bust the lies of Bloomberg, but it also shows how these Western media outlets are targeting India. You may be wondering why. It's simple. For the West, India is always a third world nation, an underdeveloped country. This Western establishment is unable to accept the fact that India is rapidly developing and is becoming self-reliant. While the so-called rich developed Western countries have a paper as proof for the COVID vaccine, India has developed a digital certificate which can be downloaded through a website. This is just another example of India's fantabulous indigenous achievement. This is the reason why they always try to undermine India's achievements. Like they say, if you can't compete, confuse the public by peddling fake news.
Please subscribe to Nationalist Hub English channel for more interesting videos, and don't forget to like and share this video. Nationalist Hub, it's a news revolution.